Yeah, let's watch this. Come on, let's do it.
Gentle.
That's a bumpy no mirror. Sangye Shindu Mikde Uargi Yogananda Shingla Chuparsho Ilam Guru Radhamandala Kaniyatayami Sangye Chudam Soki Chognamla Jamchu Bardu Dagni Gyapsuji Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Ki Dola Benchir Sanye Drubar Sho Sanye Chudam Soki Chognam La Shangchu Bardu Dagni Gyapsuji Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Ki Dola Benchir Sanye Drubar Sho Sangye Chudang Soki Chognam La Jangju Bardu Dagni Gyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Gi Drola Benchir Sangye Drubar Sho Schmogity Doggy.
Anyone have a Sharpie?
I have one.
Come on. You gotta let sign it. All right, good.
There's an American custom to sign it.
Everybody's gonna put a mantra on there.
Absolutely.
Get well soon.
By the way, the only person who did 2 3-year retreats back to back who finished is Pelma, Annie Pelma, the black nun, and she's got a bad case of cancer, so she's in Tucson. And if you want to visit her, it'd be nice. She's doing chemo right now, and she spent a couple weeks in the hospital. And we're fundraising to fix her house up, so when she goes home, she'll have a nicer place to stay. And we paid off her house.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We fundraised for that. So that's one project. Hero in Mexico, who's very dear member of the Sangha there, has to have an operation in the next 2 weeks on his gallbladder, or he will blow up, and that's $8,000, and I think we've raised about 2, something like that.
Maybe 3.
3.
Yeah.
That's since yesterday afternoon we've raised about half of it.
What,
so,
for Hero?
Yeah.
I just looked at. Oh, is some of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he needs. It's got to be in the next 2 weeks, according to what I heard. Okay.
If anyone wants to help out with Pelma, let me know, because I can give you the contact for the GoFundMe thing.
Yeah, and Harold has a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So we can put it up between the classes. How's that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. So help out. It might be you next time. Okay. Let's just go back two pieces, okay? You ready? Go. Oh, you got the plane? I like that.
Is this it?
Yeah.
I learned that from
John taught us yesterday.
Air communication.
Yeah. Silent.
I made a mistake yesterday. So it's this to give the lead, then you got to accept it, and you point to yourself, and then you go like this.
Right.
But you got to accept the lead. And if you don't accept it, it's still with
It's
the
still the
person.
person.
Okay.
In midair, like.
Yeah, how do you see like inside a guy at the window, like
Well, they
a half a mile away?
Pages away, remember?
If you're
I don't
far
know.
apart, you talk.
If it was Jigme, she'd go like, what?
We were.
We almost died yesterday. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Gakpar Gyurpe Dokparik Chikitsen Yute Gakja Rikchik Kaksam Yitade Tadepe Megakte Major.
Phew. Okay. By the way, it's a very complex study of this school's special idea that things are the opposite of everything they're not. And if your mind gets exercised in that way, it's called Tomanyiki Demik. It's called the door, the key to emptiness. So when a teacher has a student who's really serious about trying to see emptiness, they will often refer them to this section. So it's not as useless as it sounds. It's complex, but it's very important, okay? So negative entities, can two negative entities, can they be the same? And more specifically, can they be the same in being the opposite of what they are not? Mm-hmm. And I think it's useful to include in a certain way are not, okay? Because it's not in every way that they're not something else. It's a certain thing that they're not, okay? Got it? So the question is, for example, can the emptiness of the cup be of the same type? This section is called same and not the same. This whole section is called same and not same.
What was in Tibet?
Was it? Chiktan Tade. But that chik doesn't mean one. Right. It means
We're using
same. And then we have a real I think one of the breakthroughs of our translation group was the correct translation of dung chik. It's so short that it's dangerous. So Stanley Nick Dung Chik means Stanley, Nick, and one. Stanley, Nick, and one. In Tibetan, in Buddhism means to be Stanley is to be Nick. Okay? Chevrolet car Dung Chik. What's that mean?
To be a Chevrolet.
To be a Chevrolet is to be a car. But car Chevrolet Dung Chik, Ayin. Ayin means is to be a car, to be a Chevrolet. No. Okay? So oneness has different meanings in Buddhism, you know. Is Jigme's car the same as Seiji's car?
No. A car, but it's not the same car.
In certain ways it is. They're both cars. Okay? Are they both the same in being the opposite of what they are not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you have to say in a certain way. Geshe-la, do you mean type of car or do you mean car? Do you mean opposite of all that's not car? Okay? Which they are the same.
Yeah.
They're both car. But opposite of all that's not Subaru. They're not the same. They're not the same. Okay, got it? Think of the opposite of all that's not Subaru. What is it? What is the opposite of all that's not Subaru? Subaru. Okay, what's your car?
Subaru.
Chevrolet?
Subaru.
Toyota? Yeah, his car is the opposite of all that's not Toyota. Her car is the opposite of all that's not Subaru. Are they the same? In that, in a certain way. Yeah. In a certain way. See, that was a big breakthrough in this translation of translating this stuff. You have to say in a certain way. Are they both the opposite of everything that's not a car? Yeah, in that negative way, they are both the same.
And is that
okay?
In a certain way?
You gotta say it. Chick, it's the chick. You gotta say it. No. You gotta say it in a certain way. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Are they the same?
But, yeah,
are there two cars the same in being not something else? Yes or no? Are there two cars the same in not being something else?
Yes. Yes.
That depends on what you're
you can't answer that question. You got to say, do you mean by style? Do you mean by color? Do you mean by, what do you mean opposite of what? Are they both the opposite of all that's not blue?
No.
What color is your car? Are they both the opposite of all that's not white?
No.
Yeah, because his is silver?
It's silver.
Okay, got it? Yeah. Are they both the opposite of all that's not car?
Yes.
Yeah, so in one way, oppositely speaking, they're the same. And in one way, oppositely speaking, they're not the same, and you must add in a certain way to the translation. Okay, that was a big breakthrough that we made in his translation. Okay.
So this is review from last term a little bit?
Yeah, we got 2 lines. So 2 absences of things which are separate from one another and which are the simple exclusion of things they exclude, which are at the same time. Okay, car. Car. Okay, Seiji's car excludes all that's not car, and her car excludes all that's not car, and that's how you arrive at car. Why is that so important? Because the opposite of everything a thing is not is a concept, and it never changes. Okay, and how does that differ from his car, which is a positive thing? You see what I mean? How does all that is not his car? I'm sorry, the opposite of all that is not his car. Got it? The opposite of all that is not his car. How does that differ from you go out and look at his car? What's one difference? Well, one is opposite, one is negative, and one is positive. Okay? But the big thing, okay? Get it? Is there a difference between your concept of his car and his car?
In this school, certainly.
Ultimately, I mean, higher middle way. No difference. If you go mind-only school, okay, you are actually, when you look at his car, you are looking at the opposite of all that's not his car in your head. Okay, something like that. Okay, got it? And in the highest middle way, we can only say his car comes from karma. Karma. When Mercedes met my Lama first time, he said, "Who is this?" I said, "This is Mercedes." He goes like, "You have good karma." So anyway, opposite of all, okay? What I'm trying to say is, by the time you get to the highest school, maybe they're the same thing. Maybe they're the same thing, you know. Maybe in the beginning was the word. Really, because word in higher middle way means the opposite of all that is not. Mental word, okay? In the beginning, the word came first, then came the car.
Would that just be the dope?
Not that word. He's too young. Okay, let's go to the next. He's going to give an example of this example of being the same car as the opposite of all that's not the car. But somehow, this whole discussion is supposed to make you understand at some point when you get to Jorlam Chochong. When you get to just before you see emptiness directly, and you see that the pot on the stove is a picture coming out of a karmic seed in your mind. And that picture is the opposite of all that it's not. Okay? Got it?
Is it just the pot, or is it everything else that's appearing in that reality as well?
Oh, yeah, everything else. But, I mean, they come out one at a time. Right? Okay. Depending on what you're focusing on.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Tsinchi ni.
Let's go like this. Wait.
Point to your heart.
Yeah.
Point to your heart.
Gotcha.
I like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Tsinchi ni yete pompa kan saki tak me tang kawat kan saki tak me nipo te imbechu.
Is the cup the same as the table?
No.
Is the cup the same as the table in being the opposite of all that it's not?
Kind of.
Yeah, in a certain way. Oh, nice.
Good catch.
In a certain way. What way? Is it the same as the table in not having a nature of its own?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all. So from that point of view, they are rikchik.
Yes.
They are the same type. Okay, got it? That's the definition of being of the same type.
Okay.
Okay? In a negative way. Okay? He's exploring being of the same type in a positive way and being of the same type in a negative way. Okay? Do they exclude the same thing? Okay? Good. Now we can start something new. Now that was rikchik or dopa rikchik. Okay? That was same type in the sense of dopa. What's dopa?
Pancake flip.
Yeah, flip it 2 times. Flip the pancake. Not everything that's not what it's not, which is what it is.
Right.
Okay, you gotta get your mind has to get flexible. Because to see emptiness, you're going to have to do this. You see what I mean? Okay, yeah, you got to be flexible. The point of this is to build up shinjang, mental flexibility. Okay, and then they'll flip it 10 times and see if you can follow. Then you're like,
Can't remember. 7 or 8.
it's like flying a jet plane at a zillion miles an hour. Okay, okay, go. Now, a different kind of rikchik, a different kind of sameness, okay? And mentally, you have to be able to divide them. This is rikchik, this is same in this sense, but this is not same in this sense. This is same in being the exclusion of all that it's not, but it's not the same in being substantially the same. So what does it mean to say substantially the same? Here we go.
Okay, I mean,
제릭치기츠니 요때 랑깅을 녀른 칙레케베 타데베 드체 메이처.
You want to take a shot? Rikchik means same type.
There's a definition of things which are such that to be one is to be of the same substantial category as the other.
That's okay. Okay.
Because they are produced things which are separate and which have grown from the same thing that provided their material cause.
God, yeah.
Wow.
All of that is in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone remember? I'm not going to include you. Does anyone remember the weird example in the scripture that we had we're in Rangluk, we had it in Shenluk Gakpa. We had it when we were defeating the other guy. First section. We're in the second section now. We're just saying what it is. Remember it was a weird example. Nope. We're talking Ngunlin.
Right.
Came from the same cause, but they're separate.
Isn't it like
Come on. It was a weird example.
it was early. It was like 6:45 in the morning.
Two heads.
Well, at least you remember something.
From the barley, from the same grain.
You could say in English, you can say two grains on a cob of corn. One smaller, one bigger. Corn, you have a piece of corn, and it has smaller bumps and bigger pieces. What do you call them? Kernels. Okay, bigger kernels and smaller kernels. They are of the same substance, but they are separate. Okay,
But they come from the same
but they came from the same
material cause.
single material cause, which was the seed of the corn, which was the corn seed that made the corn plant.
So
Okay, got it? Why is that important in the mind-only school?
because that's one of their main gotchas is that.
And what do they call that? What do they call it?
They,
They call it zechik.
Yeah.
They call it ze. Zetade.
Right.
wow,
Suktan sungjinki tsema zeshengi ton.
no coincidence.
Suktan
Empty of
sungjinki tsema
different seeds.
zeshengi ton. In the middle way school, they use the word ze.
Right,
They don't use cause, and it could be referring to this. Okay, cool.
yeah.
All right. What's that got to do with the husband in the kitchen?
You and the husband are empty of coming from being made of different stuff.
He and
Yeah, coming from different
perception.
substantial cause.
Right.
Got it?
Yeah.
Especially in the mind-only
he
school.
and your perception of him are
Yeah.
different kernels on the same cob.
Exactly. Say it again. Say it again.
The husband and your perception of him are different kernels on the same cob.
Nice. Yeah. So don't go around saying. I just walk in. He yelled at me. I didn't do anything.
Anything at all?
Don't. As a Buddhist, you can't say that ever again.
Do anything at all?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Come on.
You said it?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Yeah, right. Okay. You can never say that again. You can think it, I guess. All those stupid drivers on the road.
Piece of gum.
I think it's from pushing people unreasonably. Anyway, I'm not going to stop. Okay.
Thank you, Geshe.
Okay, next. Now, this cob of corn grains thing can be, here we go. Nick. Go. This is airplane talk.
Yeah.
We learn from a master.
Zerik chekpa la yena sum yete. Suk su gyurpe zerik chekpa dang. Shepar gyurpe zerik chekpa dang. Den menduche du gyurpe zerik chekpa dang sum yete.
No corrections?
No, he read it very good.
It's disgusting. What am I going to do? He's going to put me out of a job. Okay.
Because it's
All right. De la llena sum.
Yeah.
De la llena sum.
We can divide
The corn cob
substantial
thing.
into three types. Yeah.
Okay, the corn cob thing into three types. What? Wait, someone tell me the sukyurpa. Right there.
Kyurpa. Oh, which
Sukyur-
is?
Which is, okay? Which is. Burn it into your brain. Okay?
Which is.
Kyurpa. And by the way, that G doesn't exist in English. It's ka. Ka.
Kyurpa.
Ka. Voiced. Ka. Ka. There is a ga in English, I mean in Tibetan, but it's not
that's
this.
not it.
We use G to show it in English letters, but it's not a G. It doesn't exist in English. It's ka, cure,
Cure.
cure, ngyur. Okay, now listen.
Your.
Cure, gyur, ngyur. Cure, gyur, ngyur. Okay, this one is the present tense of to become. This one is the past tense of become. This one means to change something like money. Change money. Okay, gyur.
Yeah.
A real English G. So three sounds. Cure. Say cure. It doesn't exist in English. Cure. Cure. I always compare it to this lady who makes the announcements in the Rio de Janeiro airport. Flight number 447. She's very famous in Brazil. She's like 90 now. And she's like, flight number 447, leaving from Rio de Janeiro. And everybody's like, ooh. So it's voiced. Voice means this is vibrating. Okay, cure. Then gyur. Future tense, gyur. Okay,
How do you
good.
spell the middle one?
BSG.
Future tense of which?
Yes, you are.
Sometimes SG.
You are.
Oh yeah, to become. Gyur.
Your.
Yeah.
And that's with an owl.
So kangyur is kind of misspelled, mispronounced. Tengyur.
Ah,
Okay. It's spelled that way with an owl, but it should have been biscure. Something. Anyway.
I could take a shot
Okay.
at this one too. I
Okay,
tried to
yeah, no,
translate it.
assume. So these kind of corn cob things can take three kinds. There are three types. One is suk. Those which are suk.
Form which is such that to be one has to be of the same substantial category
Yeah,
as the other.
physical matter. Okay.
they can
Then
be the
shape
same.
or cure.
Mental
same
things
mental.
which are such that to be one.
Yeah,
has to be
corn cob mental things. And then demenduchi.
the same. Active things which are neither mind nor matter.
Define a demenduchi for Commander Foley.
You say time.
Define.
Also,
No, I don't know.
define. The definition.
Suk shepa demenduchi.
Yeah. So we have three types of
Changing things.
functioning.
Changing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, you're gonna have physical things. Another, you're gonna have mental, shepa, and then the third are kind of a category which is a catch-all for all the other things.
Yeah.
And
Everything that changes, but it's not mental or physical.
so you can put concepts like time or also people like Adam.
The idea atom,
Yeah.
Okay.
into that category.
the personality atom. There's a few other examples, but depends on what school you're in. His school says there's a conceptual, they call it the belt, that holds a karma on you. So it's invisible, it's not physical, it's not mental, but it's changing all the time. So it's like a conceptual glue that keeps the karma on you. Okay, they call it topa, atopa, as a noun. They call it atopa. Not the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, this is going to be interesting because we've only done so far which one?
Soup.
The physical one. We did the corn cob. But how you going to do the same thing mentally? That's going to be interesting. How about you give us some examples?
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, he's farthest in his text compared to anybody. He's like trucking through that text.
It's more than just that.
He's up to 200 pages
Okay.
now.
So suk sugirpe ze rik chikpa shak to yete rangi nerlen jumpa chikle kepe zebum zabum carpo dang zabum numpo nipo de imbecher.
Nice. By the way, if you want to make your Tibetan sweeter, so now your pronunciation is fine. Now get the phrasing down. Imbecher. Yeah. So there's certain, susugirpe ze chip the shot to yute. Yute. So there's a phrasing, there's a, once you get your words down, then you can get into phrasing. Okay, anyway,
there are examples of form which are such that the B1 is to be of the same substantial category as the other.
Yeah, and can be given. Shakti yute.
We can
be given. It means I'm going to give you an example of the first one. Okay.
Or the two of a blue clay pot and a white clay pot that come from the same material cause, which is the clay, which is clay.
Yeah.
Are just such examples.
Yeah, and he should have said dopachi, like a single clump of clay.
Yeah. I got a little confused with how to say if it's the clay they're coming from or if it's that they are clay. Yeah. I don't know how to phrase the last part.
From the point of view of having come from the same material cause, somebody went out and dug the same clay, the big piece of clay from the earth, and then they divided it into two, and they made a white vase and they made a blue vase.
Right.
Okay. That's the same as the corn. Okay. So your translation has to make it clear that it was one lump of clay. He said chick.
Yeah.
Chick. And then Jimba means clay.
So
Okay.
There's another one, Ze, right?
Well, here's Za, okay?
Yeah, Za.
And Za means clay, and obviously it was the root in Tibetan in ancient times for Ze.
Stuff.
Yeah, Za became Ze. Stuff became substance in the whole 1,000 years of philosophical discussions.
Right.
The word for clay became the word for substance.
Makes sense.
You just add an S.
It's true in the West,
Yeah. What's a Zaken?
Potter.
Which link?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so his second link is called Zaken. Ken means
maker or scholar.
Guy who knows about
who knows about. It's not K, okay,
Right.
but they're obviously related. Okay, all right, good. So that one was easy, but now how about mentally?
Yeah.
How do you get the corn cob thing mentally?
Yeah.
Here we go. We got to do word too.
Did we do the second part?
I'm sorry, did we?
It's number two.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We finished
Let's
it.
do Shipa.
Okay.
Shepard.
Cure.
Kerpe.
Yeah, Brazilian sexy lady.
Shock to you day. Shock to you day. Rangi ngök ki nyerlen chik le kepe. Nam she ta depe. Chak ta depa. Nipo te imbeche.
Nice finger snap at the end.
I'm trying to get into it.
Yeah, cool.
It's very tantric to use your left hand. Okay, so I'm not very happy with this one. Okay, but mentally,
I tried it.
it's material cause. It's from a single direct cause, right?
Ngöki, yeah.
Of the moment before it means, okay? Of the moment before. Two separate consciousnesses stream out of a single state of consciousness. I guess you could say the general consciousness, the general group of consciousnesses of the moment before became the awareness of the coffee's visual, the color of the coffee and the smell of the coffee. Okay, something like that.
It's kind of confusing.
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's his example. He's trying to corncob mind. Okay. So the cause has to be of the moment before. So your general awareness of the moment before, and then Nirlen means flops over into the other thing, right? What's the famous place where Nirlen comes up?
Past and future life.
Yeah, when you're trying to prove future lives and past lives, there has to be a Nirlen of your first moment of consciousness in this life.
But is there any real difference between 2 kernels of corn on a single ear and 2 moments of time in
No, I don't think so. I think you could,
Successive moments of mind. That's
I don't know.
A convenient way to do it.
I wish he had given us a stronger example.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I always tell people you can write him a complaint. Okay. By the way, he's early. He's just after Tsongkhapa, so he's very early.
Probably won't get the letter.
Okay, go. Next paragraph. Word. Don't go like that. Go.
Deminuce du kjörpe te rikchikpa shaktu yede rangi nirlen chikpe kepe drai chepa dan drai tapa ni de yemecher.
Whoa, this is pretty psychedelic. Okay, they are of one substantial start with regard to changing things which are neither physical or mental. Conceptual. What's his example?
Sound which is made and sound which is changing.
No.
Yeah.
That's permanent. That's unchanging. Okay? Now, get it. Da Chepa and Dayi Chepa are completely different things. Okay, in this school. Okay, Da Chepa and Dayi Chepa, he had to put that Agikui. He had to put that Dada.
Sound's quality of being made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds quality of being made.
Sounds having
Not.
been made.
You cannot say that sound was made. You cannot say here that sound was made. Why? In this school.
Because they're saying it's unchanging.
Yeah. In this school, facts are unchanging.
Right. The fact that sound is made, right?
Yeah. And by the way, they are not eternal, and that's a very common mistranslation. They are not permanent. They are impermanent, but they are unchanging. They never get more or less, but they can go out of existence. Okay, so to translate these as permanent, impermanent is a gross error. If you see it in a book, just throw it. Okay. It means they didn't even think about it. Yeah. No, people give me books at the airport. I say, oh, thank you so much. I go through customs on you. There's so many garbage cans full on the other side of customs. Okay, anyway. Got it? Everybody got it? Dai Chepa. Sounds changing nature. And the fact that sound is changing is 2 different things. The changing nature of sound is a quality it has which is changing and conceptual. Okay? But the fact that sound is changing, in this school especially, is unchanging. Okay? It's like space. It's like emptiness. Okay?
This is like the changing of sound and the making of sound.
I would make it clearer for my reader so my reader didn't make the error.
Right.
So I would say the changing nature of sound. I would be sure to get the of in there somewhere. The changing nature of sound is a changing thing.
And how would you say the other one?
The changing nature of... Oh, yeah. By the way, his 2 examples are pretty funny. The impermanent nature of sound, or the changing nature of sound, and the created nature of sound.
Yeah, right.
Okay, those are his 2 examples. And they have come from one thing. They are 2 kernels on the corn cob. Okay. By the way, of the sound of the moment before. Of the sound of the moment before. The sound of the moment before has created a produced nature of the sound, and it has created a changing nature of the sound in the second instant. Okay?
Wow.
Got it?
So
So those two are cool, and they're hard to think of.
So
Cool.
changing the sound of the creation of the sound.
Yeah, the changing nature of the sound, and the produced nature of the sound.
nature of the sound.
All right. Okay.
So you would
Are both nyerlengi jebu
Same fruit.
material results.
direct material results of the sound of the moment before?
See, but the nature of the sound, isn't that like the quality of the sound, and isn't that unchanging in this school? As opposed to...
I would say nature. I think if you say nature, you're okay. You gotta say something here. You gotta, somehow you gotta. What would you want to say? I don't know.
The fact that.
No, you cannot use the fact that.
Yeah.
Okay, because facts don't change.
I mean, like the changing of the...
By the way, they go out of existence, but they don't change. When you destroy all the sounds in the world, you've destroyed that fact. But as long as the fact is here,
It doesn't.
it's unwavering. It's
doesn't fluctuate.
it never fluctuates. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the correct translation is kind of more unfluctuating than impermanent. Impermanent is a bad translation. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Go. By the way, there is a place in Buddhism for the word impermanent.
Yeah.
For example, in the Lamrim, Chiwa Mitapa, which is mean you are impermanent. That's okay. You're not going to last forever. You better study now.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't last forever. Okay? Your ability to memorize Tibetan fades also. So do it while you can. Get those seeds in the sage's text. The guy's going to go into a long story about that. Okay, here we go.
Tade kitseni yete sosowe che deembe che.
Okay, go for it.
There's a definition of things which are separate, because things which are such that to be one is to be individually distinct.
We'll go there. We'll clean it up. I mean, we'll make it smoother later. But they are individual, you can say.
Yeah, individual.
Separate.
So.
Separate is defined as individual.
So.
Okay. So.
Would you say separateness or something? Since Tade Kiteni.
This is an adjective made from so.
Oh no, the Tade.
Oh. I would say something being separate. There's a definition of being separate.
Definition.
Is to be individual from each other or something like that. I mean, when we get there, we'll do it. But
Discrete entities.
discrete's not bad.
Yeah.
Discrete's not bad. By the way,
Signal systems.
why didn't he say? Okay, you ready? Why didn't he say sosowe che tade kitseni?
Because because that's the definition.
It's not the definition of individual things.
No, it's
the definition
correct.
Of what it is to be separate.
Sosowe che. Pause in the phrasing.
Oh.
Tade kitseni yin. Why didn't he just say it that
Making
way?
emphasis that there is a definition. I don't know.
His book is written in debate style.
Yeah.
Right, you can't have the.
There is a definition. What?
I see.
So.
Because this is
Okay, he like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, you got to hear a clap between the day and the so-so. You got to hear a clap. There is a definition. What? So-so in bitch. It's not like the definition of separate is individual. Okay? You got to get that he wants you to be in the debate ground in his book.
live. Cool.
Yeah. So you got to convey that in the translation. Okay? It shouldn't say the definition of separate is individual. So there is a definition of separate. What? The other guy says, what? And you say, yeah. And you say, we've been supplying the other guy. Okay.
That's
All
why
right.
she brought that up too.
Should read like a Street Fighter 2 match.
Yeah. Zhenlang San. Zhenlang San. Okay, Rambo 3. The most popular movie in China in recent years is Zhenlang. The Zhenlang series, which is Wolf Warrior. He's a kind of a Rambo Chinese guy. And he saves people around the world. And the second one was seen by over 1 billion people. And I went and saw it. It was pretty good. Okay. Okay, go. By the way, the American guy was the bad guy.
Yeah. Finally. Now we know how it feels.
Yeah, now we know how to feel. Okay, go.
Tade la yena.
Yena.
Yena. Tade la yena. Sum yete. Rang tok tade padang. Ngo tade padang. Rik tade padang. Sum yete che.
So this whole section, each section in the textbooks on basic logic, which are called Dura, each section has its own popular name, has its own nickname, and this is called Chikdan Tadekin Namshat. What is it to be the same, and what is it to be separate? By the way, once you graduate from this, you can go to an adult text.
Does it have drawings?
Which is Kedivje's Semadidun.
Cool.
Okay, so if we ever get there, we should translate that one.
Oh, you'll be there next week.
Yeah, at his rate, he'll be there in about a couple weeks, unless he breaks his other hand.
If that's the case,
Right now, he's going to be typing like this.
I'll make sure I get that done quick.
Yeah, that's waiting. That text is waiting for the next.
Well, that's the carrot in front of my face.
Yeah. So, translate.
Tade la yena. Translate. We can separate, or we can divide separateness into 3 categories.
Good.
This is where
Oh, by the way.
separate things which are such that to be one is to be of the same type as the other.
Well, look. You're all at the stage in your text where you have had these words before.
Yeah.
So you gotta learn to go back. You make $4 signs, which isn't gonna happen in a Tibetan text. You go back to the beginning. Okay, hello. And you go rangdok. And you see, how did I translate it before?
Right.
That's what I did when I was looking. I was trying to prepare for the class.
Nice.
Being the same expression.
Yeah. So this is where we were distinguishing between shindok and randok. So the archetype in the mind, and then an expression of the archetype. Car and
Subaru.
a car.
Seiji Subaru.
So in English we use a to separate between shindok and randok, the expression of the car. So you have already committed yourself. Either you go back and change all the earlier ones, or you keep going with this one. Now let's keep going and see if you were consistent.
Okay.
Expression, so far.
And that's one of the things I do when I edit your text. I have to go back and make sure we've been consistent. Yeah.
I try to do
Okay,
that
there.
as much as I can.
You did it.
So far we've been consistent. We've called it the expression, meaning the concrete expression of the mental archetype. Okay, and they're different. The archetype is the opposite of all that is not.
Yeah.
The expression is some kind of car, a car, the car in the parking lot. When we teach DCI level 7, we try to drive a car into the room. And then we have people stand and stare at it, and we say, what's the difference between that and the car in your mind? And then, we're trying to get them to the Jorlam, the end of Path of Preparation, but I don't know if it ever happened. I think people just thought it was weird. Okay. Okay, go.
In this school, the expression is changing as opposed to the
Ask him. Is Rangdog changing thing or unchanging thing?
Unchanging.
Oh boy, I was going to go there.
Yeah.
I would go the other way.
Yeah.
But we haven't had that yet.
What's your concept?
It's a good question.
So in this school,
A car is changing.
Not the
Car, in English we go like this.
Oh.
The word car, meaning the concept car, which is why in the beginning was the word. Because in higher Madhyamika they're the same thing. Word, car,
Is
and
unchanging.
yeah. So I don't know, I'm not going there yet. I believe Shindo.
But is it Rangdok a cheat?
that's how I'm
Rangsen
understanding
or
it.
cheats?
No, I believe Rangdok is Chedak.
It's Jeddah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's keep going.
Okay.
There's a Shindo. Let's go see how we translated Shindo. Okay, $4 signs.
We didn't come across Chi and Chidok in this text, right?
not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But boy, that'll be a party.
Boy, we're waiting.
Yeah, a pizza party that day.
You translated Shindok as
Even I'll
foundation
think to
form.
that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
As what?
Foundation form.
No, why? What?
It's provisional.
Okay.
Man, I had to struggle with a lot of that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's blaming me. I went along with it for the time being.
Okay, right.
But I'm open to correcting it later. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's 3 ways to be separate. You can be Rangdok separate, you can be Ngo separate, or you can be Rik separate.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Rangdok means
Essence or
Essence,
separate.
Rangdok is kind of related to opposites. Ngo means essentially.
Essentially.
Yeah, and then Rik means type.
Okay.
And do not translate Ngo as essence. Here, never.
Right.
So what?
Which is
So what
what
happens?
Subaru, car dang Ngo chik. To be a Subaru is to be a car. I never want to see to be a Subaru is to be of the same essence of car. Come on.
you say it's
Right.
essentially the same?
Yeah, so what are we translating it as?
To be this is to be that. We're just totally rephrasing it.
No, but we're
Yeah. No, here in this case, no tade.
Okay.
To be a fish is not to be a car.
And we're also translating like Chica as that?
Well, because sometimes Rikchik just means same. No, Rikchik is same type, both car. Subaru is the same type of thing as a Toyota.
So if we
Rikchik. Well, we're gonna get examples. Come on, let's
No,
go.
one word. We're using, these are one word phrases.
Yeah, but we're not going that way. Or go ahead and do it, and the reader doesn't understand. Which would you prefer? Call it one essence, and they have not the hell idea what you're talking about, and they never do. They never will. Which do you prefer?
Well, we did design in my book anyway.
Okay. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. Okay, go. Rando.
Rangdok tade kitsuni yote.
Yeah, you're sacrificing some syntax order so that the reader will understand what it is.
Translate that phrase, that's all.
Oh, to be one is to be the other. Such that to be one is to be the other.
It's to not be the other.
Okay, go. I feel strongly about it, as you may see.
I've used that for
Rangdok so de mbeche.
Yeah, and then I just made myself a note. You know,
Between Tade and
the
Soso.
Tade, we were kind of using them interchangeably up to now. And now in his text, they have become importantly separate because one is being used to define the other. Which is why we don't hand the book to the secondary translator until we reach the end. So we have a secondary translation team. We have a German, we have a Russian who is in the hospital, we have a Frenchman who's in Oman. You know, we have Mexican doing the Spanish, etc.
Doing the etc.
And the rule with this team is the second team doesn't come in the room until the first team finishes the book. Okay? But that said, the second team's got to come in the room when the book is finished. Okay? Because we don't have time. Okay? The day the book is finished, the second team has to start on it, or we will never finish. You see what I mean? So the Chonin Lama's diamond cutter is finished. So the second team has to start the next day. It's done. Every word is perfect. You know, 10 translators gave it their seal of approval. By the way, you found like 20 errors I made that I thought was perfect. So it gave me a lot of faith in the translators team. Okay, all right.
course of 500 pages.
By the way, the financial structure of this group for the primary translators is that you get paid, you get overpaid, you get paid a lot, and then for 6 weeks after the class, you're supposed to translate. But then for 6 weeks, you're supposed to work on developing the database, making it stronger, the search system, the library, the online library. Why? It's the best karma to be a translator. Leave a tool for future generations. Leave 1 million pages with a search tool for future generations. If you work on that, you'll be an amazing translator karmically. It's a 4-step thing. It's a golden rule thing. You see, if you help future generations of translators, in between your sessions, your Tibetan will go off the charts. You know, why did my Tibetan get good? Rinpoche forced me to teach him English. And he wouldn't let me speak Tibetan in the house. And I was like, I came here to learn Tibetan. You cannot speak Tibetan. 20 years I had to speak English. I go store, okay. Yeah, he started English when he was almost 60. Okay, so the whole structure of your pay structure is built to make you a great translator, okay? But those who are Chinese, or Spanish speakers, or French speakers, German, Russian, when we reach that point, when a book is finished, you switch from working on dictionaries to translating everybody's stuff into Spanish, or everybody's stuff into Chinese. You see what I mean? So those guys on this team who are not native English speakers, the way it's going to go is when books get finished, you stop working on the database and you go to the secondary translations.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. That's the strategy, long-term strategy. Okay.
We're out of time though.
And then you make karma, by translating his book into Spanish, you make karma to be an even greater translator. So it's all a huge plot. The whole pay structure, the whole flow of the work is a huge plot. The secondary, the visitors, the observers, are supposed to be jealous of the primary translators and their pay. And then they're supposed to, like Gibson's supposed to be saying, I can do that. Just give me a book, Geshe-la, I can do that. Like Seiji did. And then Seiji finally pushed me and said, I got to do a book, Geshe-la. All right. So I'm waiting for Gibson to get jealous enough to get one of those books we have in reserve. Understand? And there's always someone behind you who's willing to take your book. This is also a corporate system. No pressure. Okay.
We're out of time.
We're over time.
Come on. Let's do that. Okay, let's just do this sentence. There is a definition of
things which are separate.
Yeah, as far as their, you could almost say their identity.
To be individually distinct.
Yeah. Rangdok, as far as their archetypal nature. And the example is
41.
A pillar.
Coffee table and a coffee cup.
Yeah, now the Tibetan says a pillar and a water pitcher, and you're going to explain to Commander Foley why you chose coffee table and coffee cup. Why? Because someone's going to correct you.
Yeah.
Someone's going to write an impassioned thing on the internet. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Kawa is a pillar. Bumba is a water pitcher.
So in ancient India, the things that were used in order to give examples amidst teachings from master to student were things that were most prevalent, I guess, in their surroundings. And obviously, in a thatched roof hut, everybody had a water pitcher and something to put it on. So I think the modern equivalent of that would be a coffee cup and a coffee table.
Yeah, these ancient logic texts constantly mention water pitchers and pillars because every room in ancient India had one. You see what I mean? Because there's no plumbing. So you have chapto and you have bumba. You have a piss pot. No, that's what it was. And then you carried it out to the edge of the village and you dumped it. Or in France, the wagon came and you dumped it out the window. And that was plumbing. And then you had a water pitcher, and there was no steel beams, and there was no long lumber, because they cut it all. So they had pillars holding up every 5 feet. There was a pillar to hold up the beams. Okay, so just in every house in ancient India, there would be these two things. In every room, there would be these two things. Now, you can either keep with the two ancient things, or you can update them. In this translation team, there's always two things here. A coffee cup and a coffee table. So that's the idea. Now later, if coffee goes out of fashion, And what's it called? That Brazilian, Argentine sport? Yeah, if yerba mate comes in, we'll change it to that. Okay, that's up to the next generation.
Do we footnote that? Because he's going to give a definition of pumpa and a definition of kawa that could be.
Yeah, at some point it's going to get problematic.
It is.
When we get into the definition of water pot, we'll probably have to go back to water pot. And then we'll have to have a footnote to say this is the old version of a coffee cup.
If we footnote our first instance of kawa and pumpa, and then our butts are kind of covered, and then that jerk comes along and you say, I guess you
The
don't
jerk's
read
going to come along anyway, so get used to
You
it.
just have a nice retort, you just say to the guy, I guess you don't read footnotes.
But will it change his mind?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, that's the difference between the two Manyamika schools.
Right.
I guess you can't read footnotes. According to your school, it would change his mind. According to his school, it wouldn't change his mind. Okay, here we go.
Chapter 541.
Yep. By the way, another innovation we have is to number every single thought so that later people can say, I don't agree with 541. It should have been water pitcher.
Right. Water pillar.
Sashi
Pugi Joshi Metok Cham Rira Lingshin Yinde Gembadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Hiram Guru Ratnamandala Kandiya Dayami Di Geo Kun Salam Yeshe Tzok Shing Salam Yeshe Le Jungwe Tamba Kuni Topasho.
Nice to have you here. Yeah. And your husband's